Hi, good morning, everybody. I hope you are well this morning. Here is Steph. Steph is joining us from the other side of the world, so it's late in her working day. So thank you for joining us. Or is it? Yeah. Or is it early the following
Yeah,
morning?
no, it's 6:30 at night.
It's 6:30 at night. Okay, I've got this right. I've got this right. So Steph is in Sydney. About she's 20 minutes, I say, northwest of the city. Half an
Yeah,
hour or so.
yeah, about half.
Half an hour, yeah. And so she's joining us from the other side of the world, and I'll let Steph introduce herself. But this is all part of my we're bringing together lots of different experts to help you ease your child back into school. So over to you, Steph. Tell us a little bit. Tell the viewers a little bit about yourself, and then we can get into the guts of this.
Yeah, well, thank you. I'm really grateful for you having me on, Simon. So I want to say a huge thanks, first of all,
You're welcome.
to organising these sessions, because I think they're really powerful for parents. We just want to sort of share a bit about what we know and what might help them. So yes, I'm an emotional intelligence coach, and I work with parents to really help them understand and manage their kids' emotions and challenging behavior, let's say. Really, it's just about helping us as a family. I kind of like to call it creating an emotionally intelligent family culture, because it is a culture in your family where we talk about emotions, we understand each other, we're aware of what bugs us or what makes us, happy and things like that, and we're not shy to talk about things that are going on with, the parents and the kids as well. And we want to help them build that confidence and resilience. So that's what I do.
So I mean, we're in the same field. That's part of the reason that I wanted to have you on, because we've all got a slightly different take on this, the flavour of what emotional intelligence is and what behaviour. So I'm guessing this is about going upstream of behaviour, because
I think the foundation of emotional intelligence really is that self-awareness, the awareness of your own emotions and how they impact your thoughts and your feelings and your actions and your behavior. So it is that kind of, you're right, that's a great way to put it. Having that awareness of, how things are going inside yourself, and emotions are, for a long time, people thought of emotions as messy and fluffy and sweep them under the rug and just get on with it, get to work or get in the classroom or whatever it might be. But now we're realizing that emotions are actually highly intelligent assessments of our inner personal functioning. So they are telling us information, they're data, we need to listen to them. And for our kids as well, when something is up with them, if they're a little bit upset or frustrated or angry or complaining or whingy, whingy as we say, like those are signs, that's information. And behavior is communication. They're telling us something.
Yeah. Because I think we live in a world where a world that's obsessed with the kind of the strategies and the behavior, and for me, that's not where the answer. That's not where the answer lies. The answer lies upstream of that behavior, and the reason I'm kind of banging on about it a little bit is because if we try and address the behavior at the level which it's presenting, then we're not going to get anywhere. Because I don't know about you, but if I'm in a funk about something, then trying to address that in that moment, or trying to address it on the behavior level, it absolutely goes nowhere. What's wrong with you, Simon? Well, nothing's wrong with me. And it's like we're not going to get any change if we're looking at the behavior. And this social media, Facebook, it's 10 ways to do this and 15 ways to do that and 17 ways to do that and 3 steps to do that. And we live in the world that's obsessed with strategies. But strategies don't work, because we need to look at what's driving the behavior rather than what the behavior is presented at, I guess.
Yeah, I think you've hit the nail on the head, to be honest. That's such a great way to explain it to people, because when I chat to people about emotional intelligence, when I chat to them about what's going on with their kids and why they're upset, or they're defiant, or not looking forward to school, going back to school and complaining, I say, okay, well, that's the behavior that you're seeing. Well, you need to look a little bit deeper and see what's going on, and have some conversations, and start there with us and our kids and that connection.
Yeah. So when the boot's on the other shoe, right? So we'll talk about this in kind of nice and big language, and we're thinking strategically, and we're thinking that. And then somebody will say, so Simon, what are your 10 top tips for boosting kids' strategy? And as I go, no, there's no way you can do that. But, you need to make it practical, Simon. You need to make it actually things that people can do. So I'm not going to ask you that. I'm not going to say, what are the 5 things that you should do, Steph? If you follow step-by-step systems, then your kids will be confident, and they will go back to school, and we'll all live happily ever after. Because that is absolute it's nonsense. It doesn't work. If the 5 steps worked, then I wouldn't have my little COVID love handles, because I would have actually been exercising more, during lockdown. So I'm definitely not going to try and reduce this to 5 ways to boost your child's confidence before they go back to school. So what, other than looking behind me, and what you said was looking beyond the behavior, I think, what pointers can you give, given the kind of like the strategy approach, the steps approach doesn't work? What would you say to a mum or a dad that's concerned about how their child is, because they're worried about them going back to school after 5-6 months off, whatever it is, since
I know. It's an incredible amount of time. I think you guys have had your kids off a fair bit longer than we have over here. In Sydney, we probably had maybe 3, I want to say like 3 months off, but we had gone back to school in the middle of our year in July, and we are partway through term 3 now. So we had not so much of a big gap where we were homeschooling as such our kids, but I still was, I was speaking to families about how can I get my kids back into the routine and looking forward to school, and not having bits of anxiety and worries about what it might be like because of such a time off. So I love your approach of not having those like top 10 tips or things like that, because you're right, we wouldn't have our work if there was 10 ways to do this and it'll be fixed, or 5 ways to do that. We wouldn't be having these conversations. So I think, the main things that I was speaking to parents about in the lead up to kids going back to school was have conversations with them and prepare your kids to start talking early about going back to school, and talking about the routines, getting back into routines, not waiting till the night before to think, where's your school bag? Where's your lunchbox? Oh my gosh, we've got to be up early, kids, remember. Sometimes parents, we're having late nights with kids and things like that. So I would say, start getting back into the routine a little bit earlier than like the night or the weekend before, because we know kids thrive in routine, right? They love structure, routine, and that predictability, and knowing what's to come, knowing the expectations is really powerful for our kids. And actually us as adults as well. We all have our little routines and things we like to do. So I just say, connect with your kids. Don't think, oh my gosh, I don't want to think about it. I'll just wait till the night before because it's going to be a nightmare. No, open up the lines of communication and talk to your kids about, hey, how are you feeling? We've got school in a couple of weeks, or we've got school next week. What are you looking forward to the most? Or who have you missed? And what's going to be great about getting back into the playground? So being a little bit prepared and intentional about it, and having the conversations with kids.
So that is a practical. Those are practical tips. Maybe I'm knocking them. It's what we do. It's what we define as practical. So start the conversation start the conversation a little bit earlier, get into the routines a little bit earlier than you might think, and open it up. And I guess the other thing that you were you mentioned just then was the kind of like, so let's look at what they're looking forward to. Let's get them thinking about what they're looking forward to, as well as what, because the mind is often like a minesweeper. It's looking for the rubbish, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's looking for, it's got some sort of inbuilt thing to look for bad stuff rather than good stuff. Well, I know mine has anyway.
Yeah.
Well, so the other thing that popped into my head was, obviously you've done this as a country. How was it for you and your clients? And because the media is so full of doom and gloom, you know,
yeah.
Was the reality actually easier than people had made out? Do you think that, you know, I'm asking you to speak for the whole of Australia now.
Yeah, well, I guess actually for me, my husband and I don't have the news on very much at all. I actually can't pinpoint when we stopped having the 5 o'clock news on each day. I think it was before COVID, definitely. And we just, like you said, it's doom and gloom, and our kids are, yes, they are sponges in a way of what is around them. So we were mindful that we weren't watching the news as much. We can get our news online or on social media or on the internet. But we know that if we are sort of talking positively to our kids and having that environment of positive excitement, looking forward to something, then that shapes our kids' mindset as well. So I don't see big kind of upsets and things at school like perhaps the media had expected. But in the same hand, every kid is different, and so there were some that were a little bit upset at the gate, and we had to drop them off. And you know, it was beautiful because teachers, were so flexible and compassionate and understanding, because we're in these unprecedented times. So I loved that I saw parents and teachers just going with the flow a little bit and being understanding and compassionate. Okay, you need five more minutes for some extra hugs. That's okay, you know.
Yeah. So there's some great pointers. There's some great pointers there in terms of, I guess, what you're talking about. You mentioned earlier on is about like a positive culture, like a family culture thing. You know, we think, when people think of culture, I think of like British versus Australian culture, or the culture in a business. But you're talking about a family culture, a positive, creating a family positive culture, and you're also talking about the fact that it wasn't as bad really as the media made out, I think. Yeah, every family's different, and there've been some ups and downs, but the way that schools were over there, it wasn't quite as draconian and threatening as perhaps some people were making out. You know, there's no such news as good news here in the UK.
Oh gosh! So really, that means it has to come from us, right? If it's not being given to us on online or on the TV, then I think we have a lot of, I suppose, power in a way as parents to create and set that culture in our family. Everyone has a culture. It's just the way of being. It's the way of doing things. It's the way you guys interact together. My husband and I, because we are obviously into emotional intelligence, and he's luckily on board because I took this journey, and he sees the value in it because of how calm our household is. He was on board, and we have conversations with our kids, and our kids are only 3 and 6, so they're still little, but we can have conversations with them about what's going on, how are they feeling, are they worried about anything, and how to give something a go, and how mistakes are okay. Like, this is the culture of our family, where Yeah, you can stuff up and that's
Yeah.
okay. We'll just try differently next time. Or we think of how to solve problems because that's what we can do. So it is a culture.
Yeah. And what do you, I mean, because they, what word do you use when people they think culture, think, oh my God, how is that? You know, I've got to do this. That's another, on top of everything else I've got to do. Steph's telling me, and Simon's saying, I've got to create a positive culture. And that's another thing to do in my life. Oh God, I can't. What do you say to people like that?
I say teeny tiny little changes. So it's just making little changes in your home with the way you speak to your kids, or the things that you talk about in the car ride home or in the bath. It's different ways that you respond rather than react when they have these emotional expressions or meltdowns or tantrums. So yeah, it's just it's little tiny changes, and really it does begin with us in terms of our mindset as parents, that we shift our mindset from when our kids are worried about going back to school or getting upset or frustrated about something that's happened. It's a shift from the, oh God, okay, this is going to be so hard, what are we going to do, here we go, that burden, shifting it to, okay, here's an opportunity. I can help them here. I can teach, I can support them. How can I help solve this problem? So it's a shift in mindset, like, I've got this. It's a curious mindset of how you can help your kids. So it's easy. It's simple.
Yeah, it's simple. And I mean, does it, I guess it, for me, one of the simplest steps, if I was to join up two of the things that you've said, right, one of the simplest steps might be to watch the news less. Mm-hmm. So we're not being, because if we're bought in, if we're consuming a load of news and a load of crap on social media, then that's what we're going to put out. You know, if we're feeding our brains with that sort of stuff. So that might be a simple step that we can do. So if we put, you know, rubbish in, rubbish out. So maybe if we put, you know, spend less. We get the papers at the weekend, but I just look at the TV stuff and some of the business stuff. I don't spend all the time looking at the commentators, the critics.
Yeah.
Just banging on about, you know, what a mess up Boris has done. You know, I don't tend to read that because their job is to criticize, isn't it?
Yeah, and to be polarizing. And you're 100% right in the fact that it's similar to, you know, what we put in our mind is what our output, you know, what we put in, we get out. And it's the same as a healthy diet, or otherwise, if you're nourishing your body, then you're going to be fit and healthy and feel active. But you know, if you're filling your mind with negativity and stress and worry and things like that, then that's going to be cycling through your brain, and that's going to be what you're putting out to your family and your kids. So I think, yeah, turn off the news, get your news in a different method. There's many other ways, or turn it on once a week, or whatever way you do it.
Yeah.
But fill your mind with you know, if you're into learning and podcasts and self-development, or following your page and things like that, and getting positive learning and information that is just shifts your mindset.
Yeah. One of the things that that I saw, I was talking to somebody else about this last week, and there's this idea that we have to be worried, because if we're not worried, then we won't take action. Does that make any sense? So there's like we're all wearing masks in the shop. I don't know what in the shops. I don't know if you guys are doing that in Sydney.
Most of us are.
Yeah, most of the time. Yeah, you don't need to wear one to go to a restaurant, obviously, because you're gonna have problems getting your food in through the mask. But there's this idea that we have to be. What if we could just wear the mask without the worry about it? But there seems, I don't know, it's just a British culture thing. It's that we somehow we think that worrying is actually going to make it better. We've got what we do, and as in wearing mask, and how we feel. We've got those kind of entwined, but they're two different things, aren't they?
Yeah, look, sorry, I've got little ones coming in. I think worry and concern and that kind of perseverating mindset of things that might go wrong or might be harmful, that is it's detrimental to your health. You know, there's a lot of mind and body kind of correlation and research and things like that, and worrying about something that is not yet happening, or worrying about something in the future is really, it's counterintuitive because it hasn't happened yet. So, you know, if we're teaching our kids about wearing masks and if they potentially, do they need to wear them at school when they go back, or is that not a
well, I mean, who knows? I mean, there's I think each school's got to do its own thing, hasn't it? We need to check out what's happening in each school. I'm kind of embarrassed now because I can't answer that question directly. I don't know exactly what's happening, you know.
I don't know either. So
yeah.
It'll be different potentially across the waters and different in each school. I think here, you know, kids are not required to social distance because it's near on impossible in classrooms and in playgrounds, but they have a lot of strict sort of hygiene methods with sanitizing and washing hands and things like that. But the way that they, or at least in our school, the way that teachers will, I don't want to say enforce because they don't enforce it. That's very sort of strict sounding, but they encourage it. It's a daily reminder, just like, you know, getting your hat out of your bag at lunchtime. It's okay, wash your hands, you're about to eat. So it's just, it's phrasing it in a positive way so that kids don't have that fear and, oh my gosh, we have to because of the virus. It's like, yeah, we're doing this because we want to keep. So that's, I guess that was a more kind of concrete way to express what I was trying to get at. Like, well, let's just do the actions without the worry. Let's take the precautions, but without them being loaded with worry and concern. Yes.
The worry isn't really going to do anything. So, it's a busy morning because I've got somebody else coming on at 10 o'clock with some more help on this. Yeah. Steph, please tell if people want to find out more about what you do. What's the best way to connect with you?
Yeah, I would love anyone to connect with me. Any parent who's interested in learning a little bit more about emotional intelligence or how they can support their kids and their family with big emotions and behaviors and things like that. I'm on Facebook, and the Facebook community that I run is called Let's Raise Emotionally Intelligent Kids. So you're more than welcome to hop on and join there. And
Let's Raise Emotionally Intelligent Kids.
It's a bit of a mouthful, but
no, I'm slowing it down.
That's my group that I run, and I'm always putting in tips, information, strategies, and insights and things like that into emotionally intelligent parenting. And you can find me obviously on my website. That's an easy one, which is just stephaniepinto.com. I also run a monthly meetup, which is online now, thanks to COVID. It used to be in Sydney, but now I run an online virtual meetup for parents. And I can probably put the links in here in the comments when we're finished, but that meetup is just called Emotionally Intelligent Parents. So you're more than welcome to come along. I always release a bunch of free tickets so parents can come along and check it out and join the conversation too.
That's great. Lovely to speak to you.
Thank you so much.
Have a pleasant evening. Okay.
Thank you too.
Bye.
Bye.